Can we make a simple mountain landscape feel bright, full of summer without adding lots of detail?
Hi, I'm Beatriz. Welcome back to the studio for today's bright mountain landscape. I want to keep it simple, but I still made it feel fresh and alive.
This is the reference I am starting from. I like the cabin, the mountains, and the open field, but the picture feels a little too muted. So I'm gonna push the color, make it feel warmer, brighter, and more like a summer day. I am also gonna change the shape of the tree so that it can feel a little bit more airy.
So what are we waiting for? Let's start painting this happy landscape.
I am starting with the sky using cobalt blue with a little bit of French ultramarine. I want this sky to feel light and airy, so I'm not trying to cover every part of the paper. I'm painting some areas and leaving other areas untouched so that the white of the paper can become those soft, bright cloud shapes. If you want to paint this with me, the Paint Along pack for this tutorial is inside Open Studio on Patreon, with the tracing templates, reference image, colors used, and the direct tutorial link. I will link all that below. At this stage, I'm keeping everything very simple. I don't want a busy sky because the mountains, the cabin, and the grasses still need room to stand out later. So I'm going to let this dry completely, and then we can start building the blue mountains behind the cabin. Now for the mountains, I made myself two mixes. One is Antwerp blue with cobalt blue violet, and the other one is the mix of the sky with also cobalt blue violet. And we're gonna go ahead and start applying these mountains. Then obviously the ones that are farther away will have less color and less detail. But I am painting around my tree trunks. If you want to, you could mask them, but you can also paint around them. We want this lighter, but not white. So let's just bring some of that color down. And for this, this is going to be bushes. They are behind the cabin. I'm going to wait a little, just for a couple of the holes, but I'm going to leave the white. But I want this clean so that I can put my greens and whatnot. I want the mountains to feel farther away, but I don't want them to be dull. So I come with the same colors, but I dilute them more to get that impression of as my mountains get farther away. I want to cool them down slightly. So I added a little bit of cerulean blue and then the cobalt blue violet, just playing with different tones to create depth and distance. So while our mountain dries, this is a perfect time to start putting the underpainting of the grasses. This is yellow ochre. I am not painting the grasses yet. This is the worm underneath the grass. And I'm gonna bring a little bit of queen gold too in the places that are gonna be a little bit closer. One thing that I wanna do though, while everything is wet, rinse my brush and then just bring some of these colors closer to this cabin and take off those hard edges. Let's don't forget to put some of the grasses here too. And now that our mountains have dried, let's just finish them up. All we have to do is put a few hard edges so that they will start reading as mountains, especially here in some of these peaks. Same colors, by the way, just on top of these other ones will read as darker. And then I can drop a little darks here and there. A lot of times some of these little hard edges against the mountain is always needed. As I get closer to the ones that have more purple, then I bring more purple into my mix. The idea here is to have these hard edges, ridges. That is what it makes the stiffness of a mountain, and is what it allows us to read as such. We want some of them to come into this direction, but as we go closer, then we're gonna start going more horizontal. There and maybe here as well. And that's all the detail that I'm gonna put on the mountain. It reads pretty good as such. Let it dry.
Now that we have the cold mountain and the warm field is where our painting starts to get that summer feeling. And now it's time to move to the cabin. That little bit of red is going to be the main accent of color for the whole painting.
start bringing the little pop of color. I'm going to be using Perylene Scarlet. It is a kind of red, but it's not bright. We want this to be a focal point, but we do not want it to be screaming on your face. So I'm going to do an underpainting first, meaning I put this color, come with water, and light it up. Then there's always time. Remember, especially in watercolor, although it can be applied for all the mediums, it is always time to darken things. And it's a little bit more difficult to light them up. So I'm going to put a little bit like that. Then I'm going to come back and darken, etc. I do want to have a little bit of that white edge here. So I'm not painting there. What I'm going to be doing now is picking some of these leftover colors from the mountains. This part of the cabin is in shadow. I want them to be warm. So that's why I'm picking these colors, the blue colors. And we're going to go ahead and I'm going to cover all of it with it. This is my underpainting, if you will. So I'm picking some of those. This part over here is a little bit in shadow too, not the whole. I'll pick more of the blue and less of the purple for this one. I put in the darkest colors, which are going to be the windows and the door. Indigo and Burn Umber by Sminky, both of them. This gives me sort of like a black. So there is one right here. This is between a cabin and a barn. I'm going to put a little. I don't want it to be too fussy. We got another one here. It looks more like a window. So I'm gonna put this part darker. Then I come with water and I bring it out a little in this edge, and we're gonna leave it alone. Another way that you can do it is you can wet ahead of time, then come with your color, and then whatever your color touches the water, it will be lighter than in the parts that it was put on dry paper. This is dark, but I want to warm it up a little bit. So let me bring some of those Cobalt and drop a little bit here and there while everything is wet. Let's give this a little variation. I wet. I bring the Cobalt blue. Maybe a little bit stronger. I switch colors, bring my black, then put it in a couple places, let these two mingle. To my dark color, I'm going to bring some of my Perylene Scarlet, and then I'm going to put eyeshadow here. Yes, this is my focal point, and I do want to spend a little bit of time on it because our eyes are going to go there. But I don't want my cabin to become too tight. I have that color and my brush. Let's go ahead and put this cast shadow that the roof is putting over the wall. Go like that. Then come with water and soften this up a little bit. I have that color and my brush. This is a perfect time that I can go ahead put a few of these lines. As I mentioned, I don't want to put a whole lot of detail, just the impressions of them. Maybe we can have one that crosses out. Okay, now that I already have my darkest dark, this shadow needs to become stronger, so I'm coming with the leftover colors, but that has too much cobalt blue. Let's see, put it over there. Now I had to be a little bit careful on not to disturb my door and my window. The idea here is like at the bottom, don't put it all even so the grasses will come. And I'm going to bring more water to this color and I'm going to reapply this shadow here as well. Against all these cooler blues, this red roof is already bringing a good pop of color, warming the whole scene on. Now I come with a little bit of this on the bottom, on the top, and then I'm going to put a couple on the bottom as well. Gives a little bit of texture. We're going to allow all of this to dry And then we will come with a little bit of a brighter red to put on top of these. Back to my Perylene Scarlet with some indigo, but a little more of the Perylene Scarlet. We're gonna go ahead and put this roof. And yes, this is the part of the whole painting where I'm gonna spend the most time, where I'm adding the most detail. Everything else, I'm gonna keep it loose. This is my focal point, but still, I don't wanna keep it tight or fussy. I want it to look loose. And finally, with those same colors, I'm gonna put a few of these planks here and there. Let's put a few darks here too. I don't want to put it even though, it's just a couple shadows. Let's mark a few of these lines here, especially the ones that are popping between the shadows. A few horizontal and a couple verticals. Let's do the transition between the big shadow and this other shadow. So I'm coming with the shadow colors, and then I'm not bringing it everywhere, just a little there, a little here. And now I'm coming with a brighter red. This is my Perylene red, and then I'm gonna put a glaze all over my roof. I put it over there, so I'm gonna bring it here as well.
At this point the cabin is there, but it still needs to belong into the landscape. That's where the bushes behind it play just an important role. They are going to give the cabin a sense of place before we move into the trees and the grasses.
Alright, let's start bringing some green gold, and we're going to start applying some of these bushes in the light colors first. Then just rinse, tap with water, and then I'm coming with sap green. I want these two to blend in the paper if possible. I'm not fussing with it, just dropping colors here and there. And now we put bushes all here at the bottom. There will be a few grasses too, so let's just drop off a little bit of the our original color, the yellow ochre. And I'm coming with my darker colors. This is Perylene green, and then I want to put it behind the cabin so that the cabin pops up. I just dropping colors and dropping blending in the paper, some darker, some lighter. Like this is more shadow, the light is coming more here, so I want this part a little bit darker. And then we're going to bring some of those sap around here too, just to break up the lighter colors. Instead of tapping with water, I just tapping with green gold. And finally, I'm going to bring some of those darks in this other one that is kind of sticking up too. As you can see, I'm spending some time on the bushes because these bushes are very important. Not only as giving our sense of place to our cabin, that these darker colors is also making the lighter colors of the cabin easier to see. As I go farther away, I'm coming with the yellow ochre. I'm muting the colors a little bit, but at the bottom it will always be a little bit darker. So let's just bring a few darks here. Time to work on the trees. I'm gonna have two brushes, one with burnt umber and one with water. I'm coming around the edge, the darker edge, with the burnt umber. I'm coming out in a few places, thinner than others, and then after I do a little, I come with the one that has only water, and then I tap. And this is gonna be enough to give the sense of roundness. I'm changing the trees from the reference picture a little bit because I want them to feel more airy, less heavy. The cabin is our focal point, but these trees play an important role into the painting because there's the only vertical thing that we have to break the monotony of everything being horizontal, vertical, and tall. The idea for the trees is like have variation, make some thinner, This one here we're gonna have one coming out, so the darkness can come a little bit farther away, then go back to be thin, tap with water. Okay, it goes always from thicker to thinner, but I'm gonna put the canopy of the tree first, and then if we need to come back with more, then we will. Okay. So we established that the light comes more this way, so I'm coming with green gold mixed with sap. Go a little, tap. The idea here is I'm not trying to make any shapes in particular. I'm not trying to paint a leaf or nothing. It's just drop color, get the impressions of light coming through, go from light to dark. Now we're going to start bringing some of the Perylene green. So let's just drop them. If it was wet, like in this case, the blend, and if not, you can go with the original colors and tap with that. This is very repetitive work, so once you see me put a few of the lines, you know that's how I'm gonna do the rest. So I think it may be a good time to do a time lapse. Okay, this is looking really good. All these colors are really popping and giving us a good sense of a summery day. And now it's time to put the grasses with Indian yellow, and we're gonna put a few grasses, meaning I go with a few like that. Then I come with water. The glow is here already, but this is just adding movement to the feel. You remember those uneven edges when we were putting the shadows in the cabin? We saved them for this because now I can come and pretend that they are overgrown grasses, which is how you find it in nature. So I want this part of the field to feel warmer. I'm coming with a bigger brush and Indian yellow. And because it is easy to overdo it here, and I don't want that. I wanted to keep the freshness. That's what I'm using my bigger brush. Now I need to let all of this dry before I come with another layer. Now we need to ground this cabin a little bit more. So I'm coming with burnt sienna, and then we're gonna put a little bit of kind of negative painting in between here and there. So we put a few. We're gonna put a few here closer to the structure of the house. I'm gonna get a little bit of the burnt umber, and then making the impression of what some of this part of the house will be. I don't wanna break all my beautiful grasses, so I break my line. I don't make it all straight. So come with the burnt sienna. Put a few over here where the bottom of the trees will be. Move a few to the ones that are closer to us. Switching to a bigger brush so that I can put this more freely. I'm gonna switch now to Indian yellow, but thicker. We got Indian yellow there, but now I'm coming with less diluted version. We allow some to go into one direction, then put a few that they go into the opposite direction. Now with the yellow, the red, the blues, we are really, this painting is screaming summer. Bright colors, especially now that we put these ones in the yellow family, are doing all the work for us. So I don't need to put a whole lot of detail anymore. Just come with a little bit of the burnt umber here and there, just to separate a little bit of these close to us grasses, and put a few by the trees as well. I have a tiny little bit of a fence, so let's just put a couple, the impressions of a couple posts. Let's have another one coming here. Let's do this one smaller. This light is hitting this way, so let me come with a little bit of white watercolor and put it over here just to light it up. And finally, with a very thin brush, we're gonna connect this, and we're gonna do it here as well. And this is gonna be all the detail I believe that is needed, because I believe that this painting looks done right now.
I love how this otherwise simple mountain landscape feels so bright and alive, but the right use of colors. The Paint Along pack is inside Open Studio on Patreon, where you can have the tracings, the final painting reference, alongside the colors and the direct link to this tutorial. As always, I thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next video.